Purchia has lived in Bedford since 1976. She's retired from high tech, where she managed, I didn't open the window for her, software development, QA, and software process. She was a founding member of the Bedford Farmers Market. She is an officer of the Bedford Arts and Crafts Society, secretary for the Patriotic Holiday Committee, member of the Bedford Historical Society, longtime driver for Bedford Santa, former officer of the FBCOA, member of the Arts and Culture Working Group, which was responsible for the Bedford Cultural District designation, a member of the Cultural District Partnership, and currently chair of the Bedford Cultural Council. Barbara is a stained glass artist. Do you have stained glass behind you, Barbara?
I do.
Oh, I'll have to see some. With a studio, the Glass Cooperative, located in Depot Park in the Cultural District. She is also an author and editor of various books published by Schiffer Publishing. Welcome, Barb.
Thank you.
Hey, Barbara.
That is a bowl that I made. In fact. All right. As John mentioned, good afternoon. I am chair of the Bedford Cultural Council. I've been involved with the Cultural Council for maybe 8 years as a member and as chair. Today, I'm going to be describing a project that's in its very, very infancy, but I'm very excited about it. And a lot of people that we've talked to are very excited about it. It's a Bedford permanent outdoor performance space, which I'm calling Bedford Pops. I thought it was a cute name.
Yeah.
So just a little bit about the Cultural Council. We support public projects through the regranting of an annual allocation of funds, and the funds are received from the Mass Cultural Council, which is a state organization, and the town of Bedford also supports us. We are an 11-member committee, and we have been appointed by the select board. We promote access, education, diversity, and excellence in the arts, humanities, and interpretive sciences in Bedford. And our goal is to enrich the cultural life for all Bedford residents and foster a sense of community. In FY20, we did present a grant to the Rotary for composting breakfast with Santa. I don't know how many of you were involved with that, but that was a really interesting, fun project. Every year, the Cultural Council does a community input survey. And the goal is to gather input from the public about what our cultural priorities should be. How do we identify our priorities for giving out grants? And then if there are any actionable items that we can determine. So one example is, if any of you have been by the Veterans Memorial Park, if you've seen the Minuteman statue, that was funded by the Cultural Council. If you walk between Town Hall and Town Center, there's a little sculpture in the middle in the grassy area. That was also a Cultural Council funded project. This year and in previous years, when we've done the community input survey, we have found that there is an overwhelming need for cultural diversity education programs and festivals, more public art, more festivals, concerts, theaters, more outdoor events. People really want to be able to do a lot of things outside. There's a need for community building, inclusion and interaction, a focus on Bedford history, and an environmental focus. And we've received a suggestion for building a permanent outdoor performance space, which I'm calling Bedford Pops, because I thought the name popped. What would be the benefits of having a permanent outdoor performance space? I believe that it would definitely enhance Bedford and the Bedford community. It would foster an expansion of the arts and culture, encourage more outdoor festivals, more outdoor activities, more gathering opportunities for people outside. It also will provide an opportunity for community building, inclusion, interaction, getting everybody together, working on a common project for the benefit of the community. It also would promote the new cultural district, and their goals are to foster community cultural events and street festivals in the district, to encourage and expand cultural and artistic programming, and then rental of town spaces. And it would enhance Bedford's 300th birthday. It would be a great place where we could celebrate our birthday in 7 years. And then it would attract more visitors and increase local business revenues. It would be beneficial to retailers and restaurants. The more people that you draw into the community, the more that people are going to go shop and eat in our town. So here's the proposal. We'd like to build a permanent outdoor public access sheltered environment. We'd like protection from the elements for the performers, with electricity, lights, and storage, and better acoustics. Bands, a lot of times, are hesitant to set up when the weather is inclement, and they would like to have a protected area. They definitely would like lights, because even though the concerts may occur during daylight hours, a lot of times they're still packing their belongings after the performance and it grows dark. And then storage, it would be great to have a storage area where we could store extension cords or microphones or stands or whatever. It would enhance the current outdoor concerts and productions, both visually and acoustically. Right now, in the town activity common, they're on a tarmac and it's sort of up on a little hill, and that's actually a pretty good location for it, but it could be enhanced with a structure. It needs to be publicly available. We need to be able to get there by biking, by walking, by car, and have enough parking. And our community is really, the arts and music community is growing. I've been putting together a list of artists in all areas in our community. It's well over 125 people that we have that are in all areas of arts and culture. And having a permanent outdoor performance space would encourage more outdoor festivals and concerts and plays. I've talked to the library. They would like to use it for story time. It would be an enclosed area with electricity that would be helpful for them in communicating. I've talked to people who suggested that on the back of it, if you had a screen, we could have outdoor movies on the common. So there are lots of ideas for having a permanent outdoor performance space. I wanted to talk about the different styles and structures. So a lot of people have an idea when you talk about an outdoor band shell or performance area, they think about an amphitheater or gazebo. And a lot of people that I've talked to have said that they're not that frequently used, and that they prefer a shell type of option. And so I'm showing you some shell options at the top. And it can be very simple to just sort of something that overhangs to things with something on the side with an area for storage or something in the back. Some of the wooden ones are pre-engineered and they have a variety of options. So they come in degrees of complexity. If you're asking what the cost is, the cost can be anywhere from a really simple shell structure, which costs, the shell itself is around $60,000. But then you have to include site preparation and installation. These type of performance shells need to be ground at least 4 foot underneath the frost area. So there's a lot of work to be involved in that. And the costs can run anywhere from a real low end of $150,000 up to $500,000 and beyond, depending on what we do. For project involvement, what we'd like to do is partner with one or more Bedford town departments and some of the Bedford town boards and committees. Partner with community organizations such as yourself. And then this kind of structure to me would just really encourage and involve community participation and promote community building and inclusion. It's a really exciting project. Funding is always a challenge, and there are a variety of funding possibilities. The Bedford Cultural Council is able to use up to 20% of their annual allocation for a particular grant that has to be done within an 18-month period. There are community preservation funds that are available, and the Mass Cultural Council has a facilities fund, which is a one-to-one matching. And the two areas that would apply to us are their feasibility and technical assistance grants. And those are also like their planning grants. And that can be up to $35,000. And they have capital grants, which would include the construction and the site prep and the actual physical structure. And that can go up to $200,000. And I've actually seen where they've given more than that, but that's what their guidelines say. And then we would like to find community and business sponsors and do community fundraising. I think everybody would like to see their name on a structure that's permanent. Our next steps, I'd like to form a Bedford Pops working group. And as part of that group, we need to identify town of Bedford partners. So possibilities are economic development. Elisa Sandoval was involved with a discussion on this and was and has left. I know they're actively looking for a replacement for her. The rec department, we would need the Department of Public Works, facilities, planning, and any other departments that we could find. We need to identify town of Bedford boards and committee partners. The Bedford Cultural Council has signed up. Members from the Bedford 300 Exploratory Task Force are very excited about that, as well as members of the Bedford Cultural District Partnership. And then there are other town organizations like the Rec Commission that we could ask to be involved. Community partners and business sponsors. You're the first business sponsor that I've talked to. So the Rotary Club, the Bedford Citizen, the Chamber of Commerce has expressed an interest in it. I think for realtors, this would definitely enhance the community. There's Palms, there's Bedford Arts and Crafts, the BCA photo group. I think it would be exciting that when this project is started, we could have somebody in the photo group do timeline photography and the building stages of a permanent outdoor performance space. Sorry, my phone's ringing. And then we need to identify interested community members. And I have been talking to people. We have about 15 to 20 people that have expressed an interest in this project. Our next steps, we need to research neighboring communities that have band shells or performance venues that are outside. And I'll talk about this in more detail in the next slide. We need to identify a project plan, develop a project plan. I've sort of started on that. We need to identify what our requirements are. Electricity storage, compliance. We need to figure out the location, the preferences in the cultural district. One of the places that I've looked at would be where we already have concerts in outside of town center. There are issues with that because the kids club is out of space, so they're going to need to expand. So there are a couple of other suggestions that I've received as to where we can do this, but I would like to do this in conjunction with the rec department and where they have their outdoor performances. Size is another interesting issue because the size will help determine the cost. It could be from 1 or 2 people to a small group to a 25-member group. I'm not sure we would want the entire Bedford high school orchestra, but that's a possibility. And then we have to work on the costs, the structure, the installation, the engineering, site preparation, maintenance. Those are all important questions that we need to address. What resources are we going to need? What is the structure? What's the material? What's the size? What's the option? What will be our ongoing maintenance? How will we use this? How will we schedule it? Will be rental based. And then come up with a preliminary schedule for implementation. And then when we have all that information, we can present that to the select board and the town manager. I have talked to the town manager. I've talked to our select board liaison. I've talked to the rec department, and they have provided me an entire list of questions that they would like answered. And this is the research area that I was talking about. And this is something that we need a committee. We need people that can get involved to take a look at and help us answer all these questions. I'm not going to read them all. I have done a little bit of research in terms of the structures that some of the local communities have and who is responsible for them. But I think these questions can help form a framework for us. And hopefully the last question is what problems were and are encountered can help us prevent us from encountering any issues as we proceed. Not that it's going to go smoothly, but the more you know, the better prepared you are to answer a lot of these questions and address issues. And that's Bedford Pops. And so since I'm presenting to you, I wanted to know if, number one, if you have any questions and how can the Rotary help make this happen? And thank you very much.